Hey guys, how's it going? Kripparrian here. Got some card reviews for you guys. This is the video just before the big card dump. That's going to be reviewed in the very next video on YouTube. It'll probably be a little bit later tomorrow. Now, these cards, however, are, I think, easily the most powerful and interesting bunch of the expansion. And we've had some pretty powerful and interesting ones already, so get ready. All right, first up today we got Splitting Image. It is a new mage secret, and more importantly, it is a new mage secret trigger. There's nothing that goes off when a minion is attacked. This is brand new, and yeah, you basically get a copy of the minion that is attacked. So yeah, if you just play a really powerful minion and you have a secret in play, your opponent might be a bit weary to attack it, but you know, the flow of games doesn't typically go that way. I think this is going to have to be played generally with taunts, because if you're playing like aggressive minions, kind of like a tempo mage, paying 3 to get the secret out there and then like doubling up on a 1 or a 2 drop, it's not really going to work. It's more of a control mage or maybe a mid-range mage kind of card, so it is a bit tricky to use, but if you actually end up using it, the power level is exceptionally high. It synergizes generally with minions that have taunt. Like if you have a 5-drop that has taunt, when they attack your 5-drop with taunt, they'll be having to deal with more taunt minions that turn. So it gives you like same turn impact if you're using taunt guys. I think if you're using extremely large taunt guys, it's kind of the wrong way to go about it. As if you have like a 7 or 8 drop taunt, probably your opponent will silence it or remove it with some kind of spell. I think this card is to be used generally on taunts between 4 and maybe 6 mana. Those are typically the kind of minions that don't get insta-silence / removed, and if they have taunt, you'll have an extremely powerful tempo play playing this in mage. So, is it good? Yes, it is very good. I would rate this card 4 stars. It is a high power level card, but it is tricky to use, so I can't give it quite 5 because I don't think it's going to quite be the reason why, you know, whatever control mid-range mage is a thing. It's just a high power level card, and there's some chance that it'll be included in one of these decks. Certainly wouldn't surprise me. Next up, we have the hero card of the expansion. It is the Hunter Legendary Zul'jin. Wow, this guy. I mean, I killed this guy so many times in World of Warcraft. It's a very interesting card. It's a 10-cost hero card, so no hero power on the same turn that you play it, but hero power sucks. Hero power is 2 damage. Just forget about that. The reason you play Zul'jin is for the battle cry effect that casts all the same spells that you played this game. So with Hunter, this generally means spawning stuff. You know, when I first looked at this card, I'm like, this card does not seem adequately themed. You know, Hearthstone has very good themes in its gameplay where the cards kind of do what you kind of expect them to do. Zul'jin is not that much of a spellcaster in World of Warcraft, so Zul'jin being basically like not exactly a clone, but let's just say a cousin of Mr. Yogg-Saron, it seems kind of weird. You know, you wouldn't really compare the spell-casting ability of Yogg-Saron to that of Zul'jin in the Warcraft universe. But you have to really keep in mind that Zul'jin's not a neutral card, it is a hunter card. A lot of the hunter spells that you want triggering off of Zul'jin are ones that spawn or buff minions, like Animal Companion. That's a pretty good one. If you start including things that do direct damage, because the targets are chosen randomly, things can go to shit really quickly. As if you have like kill command and you have beasts in play, it might kill command your own face. Certainly something you wouldn't be too happy about if you're playing Hunter. So with that in mind, Zul'jin is certainly a very powerful card. I think most people would prefer Deathstalker Rexxar, but I think there's a place for it. I can't really come up with just a set consistent combo off Zul'jin. It's just a high power level card, so I'm giving it 4 stars. High power level, probably going to be outshined by Deathstalker Rexxar for the time being, but when that rotates out, Hunter's going to start looking for a new hero to praise, and I believe that hero is going to be Zul'jin due to his overall generally high power level. Next up, we have another legendary. This one's really exciting. It's Mojo Masters Zihi. Alright, so Zihi has a pretty interesting ability here. It's a 6-cost 5/5, which is garbage, but the battle cry is set each player to 5 mana crystals. Wow. So if you play this on turn 10, both players go to 5 mana. Now, it doesn't specify if these crystals are just, set or refreshed, but there was a clarification by a Blizzard dev on Reddit, and you can basically understand from the comment that basically you spend the mana. Okay, so if you play this when you have 6 mana and go to 5, you're going to have 0 mana left. If you have 10 mana and you play this, you're going to go to a maximum of 5 and 1 is consumed. It basically consumes the mana crystals that you would lose first. Okay, I hope that makes sense. And the idea behind this card is that you're playing it in a deck that's fairly aggressive, fairly low cost, because when control decks are playing, they just want to stall out as long as possible so they can have, high mana cost, powerful, typically combo-driven turns in the late game. This can set them back up to 4 extra turns. It's not 5 extra turns because one thing you have to keep in mind is that you play this on your turn, and at the start of someone's turn, they get a new mana crystal. So basically, you play this, you go to 5, your opponent goes to 5, but then it's your opponent's turn, and he goes to 6. So your opponent never actually goes to 5, like ever, because you can't play spells on your opponent's turn in Hearthstone. That's not how the game works. So it's really, you reset the mana levels, but your opponent has the going first advantage. The reason I'm saying that is that can actually be relatively important if you're playing an aggro deck. If you play an aggro deck and your opponent goes first, having that tempo advantage can be quite significant, and I think that is the reason why I can't quite rate the card 5 stars, as I don't think it's going to break the game or anything, but it's certainly a high power level card. I'm going to have to rate it, much like the other ones, 4 stars, high power level. I can't quite pick a deck that'll promote, but I think it'll just have a natural fit in many aggressive decks that people have played. Just kind of like a late game finisher as of sorts. Spirit of the Rhino is the warrior spirit. It's a 1 cost, so they're stealth for 1 turn. They're all 0/3s, so costing 1 is really good because it's really cheap. Your rush minions have immune the turn they're summoned. Summoned, not played, summoned. So if you summon a rush minion, or if you play a rush minion as well, anything goes. Anything with rush has immune the turn that it comes into play. That's insane. It works with everything. It works with the Dr. Boom from Boomsday. If you're like the Dr. Boom hero and your mechs have rush, that's basically all of your mechs have rush and immune when this is in play. If you need some convincing on this card's power level, just think about it this way. It's kind of like if you only play 1 rush minion 1 turn, it's kind of like giving a divine shield, but it's still a card on the board that your opponent is going to be scared of. So it's better than the worst it can possibly be if you only have like 1 rush minion that you play is divine shield for the rush minion and gain typically about 3 life/armor. That's the worst it can be. The best it can be is you completely snowball the absolute crap out of your opponent and it's still on the board for future turns. So the power level of this card is, again, incredibly high. So much so that I think this is going to spawn the rush archetype. I think this is the card that makes it all work. And as such, I'm going to have to give Spirit of the Rhino the absolute max 5 stars, boys. I think this is about as good as we can hope to see these cards without them just literally breaking the game, though it might even do that. We'll see, though, as Dragon Warrior's also looking pretty good, and they might compete for similar playstyles, but I don't know, maybe not. Maybe there's some combination of the two even. Next up, we have a Rogue Pirate. It's a 2-cost 1/1 with Rush. The battle cry gives +1/+1 for each other pirate you control. It is a battle cry, and you need to have other pirates already in play, and it's kind of a crappy pirate, so it has some pretty poor synergy with the pirate-themed Rogue Legendary of the expansion, but it's still not bad. It's still like a pirate, so you can have some kind of combos. It's a bit of a weird card. The power level makes it so for it to be worth it, you're going to want to have 2 other pirates in play. Now, we've seen like half the cards, and we're going to see the rest in the next video, by the way. But there haven't been that many pirates. I feel like this is a card that's going to be a work in progress, and right now I think it's just in progress. I don't think you can reach a critical number of pirates for this to consistently be useful. It's not a 2-drop, so it's in my opinion, on the weak side until we get more pirates, and as a result, I'm going to have to give it 1 star. Mass Hysteria. This card is crazy. It's a 5-cost priest board clear-ish. So force each minion to attack another random minion. Now, there's a lot of debate about how this card works exactly. I will give you guys my take on it, which obviously I have to have some kind of confidence in my own take, so I'm pretty sure this is how it's actually going to work, guys. All right, so basically, every minion has to attack something else if there is something else for it to attack. So let's say there's 2 minions and they have more health and they have attack. It's not like they duel. It's one attacks the other, and then the other one, if it's still alive, attacks the other one back. So it's like a double duel, all right? That's pretty significant. It's not like all the minions on the board pair up. Sometimes there's a loner who doesn't get paired and they fight each other. It does not work that way. I really don't think it's going to work that way, okay? The way I think it's going to work is, so let's say you have like 5 minions in play. The first minion attacks one, the next minion attacks a different one, the next one attacks one out of the minions that are still alive, and it just goes that way until all of the minions have attacked another random minion, in sequence, in order. And yes, there's some possibility where you play this and you kill like nothing. Like if there's 3 1/7s in play, nothing is going to die. It's going to suck, right? And there's some patterns to the card. For example, if all the cards have the same stats and are of the same stats, and there's an odd number, one always remains. Okay, so that might be confusing. So let's say there's like 3 3/3s in play. So 1 3/3 is going to fight another, and they're going to kill each other, and there's going to be one left. And if there's 5, it's the same pattern. The first 2 will kill each other, the next 2 will kill each other, and then the next one's just going to stay alive. So there's some kind of pattern so you can see kind of the power level of this card. It's kind of like Brawl sometimes better, sometimes worse. But here's the thing. You know what class would be pretty good if it had a card like Brawl? Priest. All right, so this card is pretty damn good. I think this card is possibly going to be what it takes for Priest to take some kind of control/combo foothold into the meta. I think it might actually be a meta-defining board clear for Priest, and as such, I have to rate it 5 stars. I think the power level is there. I think the way the card works is just marvelous, and I think that players who are particularly good at number crunching in Hearthstone will get much higher effect on average from this card, which I really love. Next up is the Beast Within. It's a hunter 1-cost spell. You give a friendly beast +1/+1, then it attacks a random enemy minion. So it's kind of like a 1 duel for 1 mana. It's not bad. If you can like crush one of your opponent's guys, it's like not terrible. I just don't really like it. There's some synergy with Poisonous. There's maybe some synergy with like Overkill or something, but I don't think it's that crazy. Until we see some absolutely insane Overkill combos, I'm not sold. I think this card sucks. I think it's a 1-star card, and I don't think too much more needs to be said about that, but who knows? Maybe there's going to be some crazy-ass Overkill beast thing that's going to be worth playing in Hunter. Probably not, though. Then we have the Shaman Aloha. So it is Kragwa the Frog. It's a 6-cost 4/6, so the stats are pretty bad. It's a beast, and the battle cry returns all spells you played last turn to your hand. All of them. That's right. So if you've played against like a mid-range or aggro shaman deck, a lot of the time what happens is they just blast you with spells from like 15 health to 0 instantly. And you're like, wow, that seemed really unfair. You're right, by the way. Now, they can do that, get you from 30 to 15, play Kragwa, and then do it again, probably in a combination of that turn and the next. So the card is obviously insane in terms of value, in terms of everything it can do. Even if you just get 1 spell, it's pretty good. If you can choose when you play this card to get a signature spell back in your hand, that's probably worth the value of a single spell. Now, I imagine there's going to be some really crazy combos that lead into this card to a point where it's going to be far better than its minimal power level, let's say. Kragwa, I think, is going to be a 5-star card. I think it might even define the meta. I think it's going to breathe life into Shaman decks, and you have to keep in mind right now, we are in a very mature state in Standard with the upcoming Rastakhan's Rumble set. We're going to have the most sets, so we're going to have... we're going to have probably a decent bit of impact from this expansion based on how many crazy cards we're getting, at least in this video. But still, we have a pretty difficult meta to get into. And currently, even Shaman is pretty good in that meta already. So just putting that card in there, putting a few more spells to make it work is really good. Another aspect to the card is if you have spells with Echo or like Phantom Echo, like the Unstable Evolution, you get all copies back permanently. They don't just go away. They're not like phantom cards. You get all of them. If you cast, the evolution card 10 times off the same card, you play Kragwa, you get 10 copies back. It's that good. Then we have Tree Speaker. It's a 5-cost 4/4. Transform your treants into 5/5 ancients. That's like kind of a good effect, but I mean, this is like the first treant synergy in this expansion, and like it wasn't really good enough up until now. And like Druid has like kill your opponent with hero attacking minions something. I don't know what the hell's going on with Druid, dude. This card is terrible, all right? I don't know what's going on. I feel like this card can instantly be amazing overnight when they actually come up with good treant cards, but we don't have anything close to that right now. This is a 1-star card, but it doesn't matter because all the others are so good. Keep in touch for the next video. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys.